Our presenters for the 10:20 time slot are Anna Pizarro and Tamara Marques. Anna is from Barrington, Illinois, and Tamara is from Lisbon, Portugal, and they will be sharing with us our Capstone project, Sustainable Design Solutions for the Cosmetic Industry. Please join us in welcoming them.
So as you guys heard, my name is Anna Pizarro.
My name's Tamara Marques.
And this is our senior capstone presentation. So first, I'm just gonna walk you guys through what you'll be seeing today in our presentation, and just a little overview of what we did in our project. So first, we're gonna talk about what inspired us to do this project and why we chose to do it together. Then we're gonna go over our consulting brand that we created for this project, our case study with EK Bare Beauty, and a little bit about the company. And then Tamara is going to go into her research, design process, and design recommendations for the packaging side and the service provided by Primavera. And then I would be going into my research, design process, and design recommendations for the retail side. So why makeup and why a partnership? Makeup has been a very important passion for Tamara and I, not only for the beauty purposes, but also as a creative outlet. We decided to work together because we both wanted to work with cosmetics in some way. And when we were going through what we wanted to do as our capstone project, we became more aware of the lack of focus on sustainability when it comes to the cosmetic industry. We also knew that by working together, we would motivate each other and push each other to do more with the project. So it just seemed like a good fit for us to work together on this project.
So first off, we're going to talk about Primavera, our concept brand that we created for this project. So first off, this would be a consulting brand, a design brand specializing in specifically sustainable solutions. And so we wanted this brand to kind of convey renewed, of rebirth, a fresh start, much like the idea of springtime after a cold, harsh winter. And so after going back and forth between ideas for the brand, when we were thinking about springtime, we then realized that I'm Portuguese and Anna is Italian, and Primavera is the same in both of our languages, and that means spring in English. So we thought that having Primavera as our company name would encapsulate our core values and then the concept as well for the company itself. So what is actually the goal of the concept brand? We want this brand to bring innovation with a sustainable intent, specifically in the cosmetics industry. So here we're just showing you a little logo that I created for our brand, Primavera Conscious Design, with a little leaf to kind of showcase that motif of spring and organicness, and then conscious design to kind of encapsulate our brand values.
So this is the kind of mood board I made for Primavera Conscious Design as its brand language. So I really wanted to focus on three different aspects: clean, neutral, and color. We really wanted a clean and simplistic look to kind of resemble the fresh and renewal of the brand in like springtime. The neutral side kind of goes in with the organicness and the conscious design portion. And then for color, we wanted it to have a pop of color because in springtime, you usually will start to see the flowers starting to grow, the grass is getting greener, and we just wanted to add that pop of color into their brand language. So going into our business model, so our customer segment would mainly be geared towards smaller companies who want to expand their company, but in a more sustainable and eco-friendly way. We could work with larger brands as well, but for this project, we really wanted to hone in on a smaller company like EK Bare Beauty, which we'll explain later. So our value proposition as a company is that we would offer services as well as products. So we would offer services in rebranding and designing, and then we would also have our own line of displays that could be semi-customized to the client.
So let's talk a little bit about the case study, and in this case, this is EK Bare Beauty. So this is a small company that's sells sustainable, clean, vegan, and cruelty-free cosmetic products. And so this company lies in a niche market where most companies that are like this, sell sustainable cosmetics, are very small, they're unknown, and they rely on e-commerce. In this case, this is and other larger companies we've seen are starting to implement these ideals that Primavera, our concept brand, likes. However, most of these companies don't really focus on cosmetics, which is why we're focusing on smaller makeup brands. So first off, we're going to talk about my side of the project, which is the services provided by our brand towards another brand, and this is the makeup and packaging design section. So the goal of the project is to showcase through a strongly designed product line just how reliable and trustworthy sustainable products can and actually should be within the context of the makeup industry. So first off, who is actually the average makeup consumer nowadays? Looking mostly towards my classmates, it's already apparent that many of us have very different morning and night routines. However, we all have one thing in common. We all use some form of cosmetic products. So this was actually before COVID-19, but I asked a few of my classmates to send me videos of their routines, whether they were using makeup or other types of products. And so we have Rebecca showcasing her use of eyeshadow. We have Anna using her lip balm, Ben using some night cream, very expensive one I might add. And Danny's actually using this makeup palette that actually inspired Anna and I to do this project, because this came out last year and we were very inspired by its design. So after actually looking through and studying my classmates' routines, I noticed that it's a 50-50 between them wanting to buy products for the quality versus the actual packaging appeal, again, referencing what Danny was using. And this made me realize that even if a product is good or bad quality, its packaging really does make a difference towards sales. So first off, I'm gonna backtrack a little bit and talk about problems within the makeup industry. So the process of actually making makeup products and packaging is highly pollutive and unsustainable. These products are made utilizing either dangerous or even unethically sourced materials. And oceans are being contaminated by both product residue washed down drains, and then the packaging being tossed into the trash, and then it's found in landfills. And recycling's not always an option because companies are not always willing to invest in it, and also not many users are actually compelled to recycle versus just throwing products in the trash. So I'm also going to kind of describe the difference between greenwashing and sustainability. Greenwashing, which is also called green sheen, is the process of conveying false information or a false impression about how a company's products may or may not be environmentally sound. So this is when companies use clever marketing tools to invoke natural, green, recyclable products that may have been changed only to use a little less unsustainable materials in their products, or in some cases they haven't changed anything at all, just the wording of it. So this is considered to be an unsubstantiated claim to deceive its consumers into actually believing that a company's products are environmentally friendly when they're in fact the opposite of that. So we're going to go into material research because I really wanted to focus in finding materials that I believed would be much better for the environment. So first off, we're going to talk about cork. Actually, for those of you that don't know, cork is not necessarily wood, and it's not from a tree being cut, it's from the bark of a tree. It's carved out of a tree. And this is very lightweight. It's actually fire and water resistant, which I had no idea about until I did this research. It's non-allergenic, antimicrobial, it's very tough and durable, and the whole point of this project, it has little to no negative impact on the environment, and it's extremely versatile and long-lasting. So here I'm going to showcase a little bit of how it's actually harvested. So you can see in this image, these men just carving out the cork. So cork trees are actually carved every 9 years by usually 5 trained farmers, and they actually just use axes. There's no machinery used for this. And after the cork is cut, it's then boiled in water for an hour, and then it's left to settle for a few hours. And then the cork is put on a platform, and workers actually cut it into separate pieces according to its quality. And the important thing to also note about manufacturing cork and harvesting it is that the leftover scraps from cutting up the pieces are always gathered together to reuse and recycle. So there's no stone left unturned in terms of trash or residue. And then we're going to focus into this new material that Anna and I found. After having researched a lot and even looking through some of the ICC books, we noticed that this material is so new that it wasn't even in a lot of those research books. So this is essentially bamboo that is milled into a powder. Sometimes this material is called molded bamboo powder or fiber. This is very biodegradable because it's from a plant. It's lightweight, very easy to clean after it's gone through this process. It's cost effective, which is perfect for this project. And it actually, the bamboo requires no pesticides, and it has a little amount of water since it's a grass. And the powder, just like the cork, can actually also be recycled from the factories if there's any extra left. It's always very easy to actually just put it back into the machine and just reuse it. So I'm going to explain a little bit of how it's made. So as I explained, this comes from bamboo powder. And so this powder is actually placed in an oven. The powder liquefies when it's heated, kind of like plastic granules, how they make BPA plastic and stuff. And the bamboo powder is then pressed and molded in a machine into the desired shape, into any shape, which is perfect for this project again. And after it's cooled, it's sanded until it's smooth. And the finished product actually has kind of the look and feel similar to plastic. So, also another important aspect, can these materials be ethically sourced? So, first off with cork, several forests reside in Spain, Portugal, Algeria, but since Portugal actually accounts for most of the world's cork harvest, it's the sourcing in which I will focus on. So Portugal's Ministry of Agriculture actually manages all the cork forests in Portugal, interestingly enough, and it's in fact illegal for any of the farmers that own lands to even cut down a tree unless it's under the ministry's permission. And so since the forests are government protected and the process of harvesting the cork itself requires around 5 well-trained, experienced men, it's a very ethical and well-organized process that has existed throughout generations. Now with bamboo, it can be a little bit trickier to get it ethically. There's thousands of species in tropical and subtropical regions of several continents like Asia and Africa, Latin America. Essentially in the right climate, anyone can plant it and harvest it just about anywhere. So some of the world's largest bamboo sources, where most commercial bamboo is grown, are in countries like China and Indonesia and in India. And the important thing about bamboo sourcing is actually working with a knowledgeable and reputable bamboo supplier and getting a supplier that can answer important questions about its harvesting and its proper handling method is imperative, so from what I understand. And when it's ethically sourced through a reliable supplier that actually understands the possibility of creating jobs, this can improve not only the country's economy, but also most importantly, the local economy where these workers live. So now we're going to go into working with EK Bare Beauty. So again, like we said before, this is a small brand on Etsy that sells and makes clean cosmetic products. And while her products do have, they are of decent quality, the casings have a very DIY, do-it-yourself look and feel to them. So here we're going to just showcase kind of how her products look currently. It's just very generic type of packaging, and you can tell that the labeling is kind of all over the place. There's no real brand language there. And in order for this to actually be considered good quality, in order for her company to be good quality, a change at least in the brand language is definitely due. So we're going to determine the desired aesthetic alongside our client. Looking back towards the product family, Anna and I made a few mood boards to help Emily, the owner, to understand what she actually likes and dislikes from all the packaging that she chose. So based off of a serum, we kind of made this mood board, which is very clean and very simple. And then we have these bath bombs, and we kind of made it look a bit more earthy and pink. We have this kind of more of a vintage aesthetic that she only had really for these two serums as well. And then this more deep tone type of mood board that, again, for another serum that she made, she's made several similar products having completely different packaging. So this was just kind of to understand what she was going for. And so then she chose a mood board that was a mixture of a few of them. So it's fairly minimal, fairly clean, and very interesting shapes are highlighted, and she has a clear desire for organic visual cues. So we're going to redesign the brand logo as well of the company. So this is the original logo of Bare Beauty. And so actually the purpose of this new logo is to have a better visual cue towards organic themes, like I've said before, and environmental awareness, since that's the whole reason as to why she started the brand. And we wanted this to be clean and minimal, very easy to recognize, and we wanted to also name her clientele. So kind of going through some phases, and on the right side, we have the finalized orange, which is kind of a motif for organic intent towards beauty and beauty products. And then here we have the final font, which is very simple and clean and minimal, but still kind of cute and works with her brand. So here we have the company name, and then we have the Bare Babes, which would be the clients, which Emily was very excited about. So in terms of the product family, what am I choosing to redesign? So we have her lip tints, her highlighter sticks, serums, eyeshadows, and the case in which they'll be placed in, foundation, and then we have some simple packaging, which these will go into, and the PR packaging, which I will then explain what the difference between the two are. So we're going to go a little bit into the design process. So I'm going to kind of showcase my ideation, and very, very rough. And I had this vivid kind of idea of just having this orange idea with the eyeshadows from the very beginning. I wanted the eyeshadows to kind of fit together in a unique way, in a very different way from most single shadow palettes that exist currently in the market, because I really wanted this to stand out amongst other types of products. And then I have some more rough ideation with the foundation. I mostly focused on ideating the eyeshadows and the foundations before I did anything else, because I really wanted to get those two down. And I just kind of went through this process of, do I want it to be a bit more organic, a bit more literal, or not? And we even have a few of the beginning stages of the serums also on the right, and some of the lip tints as well. And here I have some of the ideation for the packaging and the PR. On the left side, we have the PR packaging, where I was just trying to understand where I could actually put these things together and how it would be arranged. And then on the right side, I just wanted to kind of see how I would actually like the packaging to look like in terms of the graphics as well. And here, I also wanted to showcase that a lot of my ideation was through CAD. For some reason, it was just easier for me to kind of understand what I wanted and how I actually really wanted the eyeshadows to work. So here are several ideas where I either used cork or glass and copper, or that bamboo powder but dyed in orange, a lot of different ideas. So then now we're going to showcase the current iteration of these products. First off, we have the highlighter stick. So this would be fairly small, probably about this big, and this would be mostly made with demolded bamboo powder. And this stick is ideal to use for illuminating and highlighting the skin. So we have 3 different shimmer shades targeted towards different skin tones. So the faint yellow would be recommended for neutral tones. The faded pink would be recommended for warm tones, and then the icy blue recommended for cooler tones. And as you can see, there's the EK Bare Beauty on the side of the body. Again, I wanted the packaging to be fairly minimal with its labeling as well. And on the top of the cap would be the orange. And now we're going to go into the lip face tints. So these would be the same shape as to simplify manufacturing and make it easier to reuse and recycle if the consumer wants to give back the empty ones to the store, just like several companies do. This would be made with molded bamboo powder as well. And this is ideal to use either as a lipstick or a blush. So we would have 5 shades for this, for either a more natural or contrasted look, depending on what the user would want. So from left to right, we have mustard orange, bright orange, light pink, dark berry, and cherry red. Here again, we have some kind of close-ups on the caps and also the EK Bare Beauty again on the side. And now we're going to go into the serums. They're a little bit taller than the previous products, and again, the main body is made with the molded bamboo powder. But then the dropper would be made with glass, and then the top of it would be natural rubber. So serums are actually ideal to use for facial glow and skin texture improvement. So I would just have 2 serums. She had probably 7 or 8 different ones, and I wanted to just simplify it a little bit, especially for this redesigning of her brand. And so we would have 1 skin brightening one and 1 hydrating face serum. And again, here's just a little close-up of how the dropper would also look like. And now we're going to go into the eyeshadows in the case. So the case and the eyeshadow singles are again made with that same molded bamboo powder. And then there's a cork indent on the bottom to kind of fit the eyeshadows inside. And so this is very ideal to use for colorful eye looks. So we would have 16 different shades for the start of the brand. And then we can build up more on that later on. But first off, we would have 8 shimmers, which are more glittery ones, and then 8 powders, which are more matte. And again, as I talked about in my ideation, I had that little callback to kind of an orange slice, with the segments being the eyeshadows, the inside of the orange being the cork, and then the outer bit being the bamboo fiber case. And it's very easy to swap between different shades. Or to even reuse the eyeshadow case itself. You can take apart pretty much everything inside and put whatever else you want, jewelry, anything. And so we wanted to give the client furthermore use of the actual product. And now we're going to go into the foundations. So this is the tallest product we have, and the cap would be made with molded bamboo powder. And the body would actually be made of glass. And this is ideal to use for evening and correcting the complexion color, and it's also used to fix blemishes. So we would have 8 shades for the foundation, ranging from paler to deeper skin tones. And I wanted it to just have a very simple twist top to simplify the manufacturing, again, of the glass, and also because looking back into the videos of my classmates, a lot of them have either sponges or brushes, or they just use their fingers for application. So I felt that it was unnecessary to kind of give it a pump or anything else. I thought it was just simple enough to just have a twist top, and you just place the product on the sponge and it's easy enough to use. And then we're going to go into the packaging. So these would be made from recycled paper and cardboard. It would be a mix of it. And we would also use eco-friendly printer ink, which is a bit more expensive, but since recycled paper and cardboard is so cheap, it kind of balances it out. And then on the back, we would have the Be Your Own Bare Beauty, which has been a company slogan as well. So here's just kind of a simple demonstration of how the products would fit inside. And yeah, you can see the foundation in here. And again, very minimal labeling, but we felt it worked out for the brand. and then the PR packaging. And before I really go much into the PR packaging, I wanted to kind of explain that this is more for influencers. A lot of makeup brands like to send Instagrammers and YouTubers several different samples or even just entire lines of products. And so I wanted to also incorporate this for this brand, because realistically, if this were a well-known, successful luxury makeup brand, they would have their own PR to send to other people. So this would again be made with recycled paper and cardboard. We have a very simple EK Bare Beauty on the top. And then on the inside, it would contain cork. This is very similar to the idea of the eyeshadow case. We would just have the cork to kind of fit the indents of the products inside. And we would have 8 different eyeshadows in the case. We would have 2 different lip tints, 1 highlighter, 2 serums, and 1 foundation as a kind of smaller array of the products that we have. Again, just kind of showcasing the shape. I wanted it to be similar to the eyeshadow case, so all of these kind of design elements kind of flow together. So here I have the final product family of what I created for my side of the project: the foundation, eyeshadows in the case, the serums, the lip tints, highlighter sticks, the PR packaging, and then the normal packaging. And now we're going to go into Anna's side of the project, where she works more in Primavera to create our own product line, and how she then uses that line to customize for our case study, EK Bare Beauty.
Yeah, so like Tamara said, I'm doing the displays and retail space design side of this project. So first, I wanted to start by creating a display family under Primavera that we could use for multiple clients. And then in the latter part, I would be applying it with EK Bare Beauty and doing some layouts and design for them. So the goal of the project for the Primavera display line is that I wanted to create a product family of sustainable, customizable displays that can be easily put together. And when it's easily put together, it can be easily taken apart. And that allows it to be used in different applications. So doing some research, I learned a lot about what the market gap is in the display now, and some research on what displays are currently used. So what I learned is that sustainable displays for retail use aren't really currently on the market. You can find things made with sustainable materials, but it's not usually like part of a display line. It might just be a sustainably made crate or something, and then you would have to create your own displays with just like mismatched random things you can find on Amazon or Etsy. And life cycles of displays on the market right now are usually between 5 to 10 years. Most stores will do a refresh every 5 years with just either graphic things or small displays, and they can also do like a full store reset where they get rid of all of their displays. And most of the time, these companies will either give their displays to a different store that currently still uses those displays, or they just throw them out. And the reason they throw them out is because most of the displays used might have one product or one material that can be recycled on it, but the rest of them have to be taken apart so you can take everything out. And this is a service that costs a lot of money. So a lot of the times the brands don't want to pay the extra and deal with the hassle of taking everything apart and sending it away to be recycled. Along with that, smaller brands have a limited access to displays because most of display manufacturers are for wholesale or geared to more large scale stores where it's like an end cap or a Target type big box store. There are custom firms that do design work, but they're very expensive and not really an option for small brands. Those would be like fully custom design work where you would work with a firm that does that. So I then kind of did some online research as well as went into different stores before COVID-19 and tried to find what displays are typically used in every store. That way I could kind of compile this list into the displays I would need to have in this product line for it to work well, but also not have like 20 different displays. So with my initial chart, I wanted to make a table, some type of table display, shelving, a wall feature, somewhere where people can check out, or the cash wrap display, as well as something with the windows. So you can kind of get your attention drawn into the store before you're actually inside. Now I'm going to go through my design process. Starting with ideation, I kind of did a lot of rough sketches of the functionality of it, of how I could make it fold and transportable or modular. I did a lot of these sketches in this notebook I would have. It was my Capstone notebooks. Anytime I'd have an idea, I'd kind of just write it in one notebook. And I mainly just focused on the functionality side of it. I then did a lot of ideation on SketchUp and on the iPads, just to see in more depth of, once I had an idea of what I wanted to do, like how would it work, and what are some of the design elements I could add to it. So going into my material research, I used a lot of the research that Tamara had. We would share kind of along through the whole process of what we found, different things and ideas, so we could get feedback off of it. So I really wanted to look into 4 different types of sustainable materials. The first one is bamboo, like you heard earlier from Tamara. It grows rapidly, it's a grass, it's very strong and lightweight. And then cork, it's very soft, anti-flammable, and it has no negative impact on the environment. And bamboo fiber, it has like nice plastic texture, it's very moldable, it's a new material. And I also looked into rattan as like possibly using for more design elements. It is rapidly growing like bamboo, but it does not have the hollow inside. So most of the time it's just ripped or like peeled apart and used to weave different designs because it's very pliable. After doing this research, I really wanted to use the bamboo and the bamboo fiber in the displays. It kind of matched more with the clean and simplistic style of Primavera, using the clean, neutral, and a little bit of color. I then went into prototyping. So on the left side, I was just prototyping some of the displays and the functions of how it can open, the angles and things like that. In the center, I was prototyping a small display shelf that would, what the actual products would go on when they go on the right side. I was trying to figure out what the smallest size for the table I could get. So I wanted to save space, but I still wanted it to be big enough to have the products. So now going into the design of the displays, my current iteration. So these is what I ended up deciding to make. I wanted to do a table display, a large shelf, a small shelf, a wall feature, the cash wrap, and the window display, which I ended up deciding to change into vinyl stickers of the actual brand logo because I thought it was very cute and fit well with the overall vibe of the interior and store. So starting with the large shelf display. So this is a little over 5 feet tall. So this is a larger display. You can change the height and the width of the display itself with the bar on the bottom. So if you want it to be a little bit wider and shorter, you can do that. The shelves itself are very easy to come off, and you can then fold the A-frame for storage or transportation, so it does not take up that much space. And then this is the small shelf display. This is about 4 feet high, and this you can customize where you want the drawer or shelves to actually be. So if you want to have 2 shelves on one side and 3 on the other, or them at different heights, we would send this or manufacture it without the cuts in it, and then once we get the order, you could cut it and then have it shipped off. And with the table display, I really wanted to focus on making a display that didn't have any metal hardware in it. So this one is just using the wood brace on the bottom and sliding the table legs up into it and having the tabletop set on top. So with the table, it's almost like a foldable table. You just take it apart. It's very easy to take apart, and you can take it anywhere. And that just allows it to be more transportable and customizable within where you can take it. So with the wall feature, I wanted to do a panel system. So the first kit you would have 2 panels. You could buy multiple kits and stick them together for a larger space, or you can use a smaller kit if you have a smaller space. You can bend them and fold them so you have more of a triangle feature, or you can have it lay flat for a wall feature. When this, I envisioned people or the clients would customize where they want to put holes in for different shelves, but they can leave it flat. So you have that semi-customizability with these displays. And lastly is the cash wrap. So this may look a little more narrow than what you're usually seeing for checkout tables. And that's because most of the time these small boutiques don't have a traditional cash wrap or cash register. They use square. So that eliminates the need for a really big, bulky cash wrap table. And since we're working with small beauty products, you don't need a really large surface because the products itself are small. And then I also put shelving in the back side of it to keep the bags and packaging things that you would need to check someone out. So now working with EK Bare Beauty and applying the displays that were designed with Primavera to what it would look like for working with a client. So like we said before, EK Bare Beauty is a small brand on Etsy that currently relies on e-commerce. By creating a space where customers can interact with the products, it'll give that brand more credibility and that trustworthiness we've been talking about throughout this presentation. It also gives the brand more exposure, allowing the brand to go. So using Primavera's product line of displays, I wanted to create a kiosk layout for more farmers markets or expos, as well as a retail space that would be more down the line for this brand, maybe like 5 to 10 years, and apply EK Bare Beauty's new product line and branding that Tamara had created in the final slide with we made some combined images for that. So as we said earlier, Tamara and I both made some mood boards in the beginning when we were first talking to Emily to kind of see what aesthetic she wanted. For the display, she had chosen the clean and simple mood board, kind of having more natural materials, but having a very soft and clean tone. So this is my recommendation for the kiosk design. I created multiple different layouts options, and for the one I chose to go further with is option 1. I liked these options because it had a more open feel and space to it. A lot of the time when you're at a farmer's market or expo, you feel very cramped, and I wanted to alleviate that pain point a little bit by keeping it more open. So when you are looking at her products, you don't feel like you're going to knock something over or you're going to be in the way. So you might notice that there's 2 different sizes for these layouts. There's a 8 by 8 foot and a 10 by 10 foot. Through research, I found that these 2 sizes are the most typical sizes for either an expo or a farmer's market space. So this is the 8 by 8 foot kiosk area. So as you can see, it has one table display and a small shelf display, and then the smaller version of the cash wrap. And this is the 10 by 10. I wanted to have a larger display, the shelving, as well as a mirror to go along with their slogan of be your own Bare Beauty. And that way you can also test the products and see them. So now this is my recommendation for the retail space. So again, I made multiple options and then chose option 3 to move forward with because I felt that it had more of an open feel and was more organized than the others. So going into that, we have the first zone of when you walk into the store. So these would have the stock makeup products and just kind of a little showcase of their testing abilities. And that would be one side for the makeup and one side for the skincare products. And then the smaller shelf displays would be used for what their best sellers are and fan favorites. And then in the center of the store, I would have the tester tables. So the tester tables would have your mirrors, any cleaning products you need to use on the products before you actually test them, and any applicators you need to test those products. And then in the back area of the store, we have suggested routines for dry skin and normal skin for their makeup products and their skincare. And then on the back side of the wall, I had the idea to use the wall features as a way for the workers in the store to showcase their favorite products that they have there and what they use them with and why it's their favorite. And I thought this would give the customers a little bit more of a personal feel when they go into the store. A lot of the time when I'm looking at products, I like the product and it looks really cool, but I'm not really 100% sure what I really need it for. With all the different serums out there and different ways you can use them, that would give just a little more personal feel to the store itself and how the workers there use their products. Then lastly, the last zone is the cash wrap. And you see another wall display on the back there that would be for any promotions or specials or just any new products they're releasing. And then behind that is the price menu where it says all the prices for the actual products. So these are some of the renders showcasing close-ups of the displays, as well as the street view of where I would see this store. So this street is in New York. It's in an up-and-coming town that has a lot of boutiques and more of a lot of different shopping centers or shopping stores in that area. So I thought this would be a perfect place where I could see EK Bare Beauty store actually being. As you can see, the window decals on the outside and the very clean and redesigned signage on the front. And these are just some more zoomed out images of the displays itself, kind of showcasing how they work together and how you would navigate the store a little bit. So as I talked about earlier, these are the combined renders that Tamara and I made together, just kind of showcasing how as Primavera, we had the product delivered for the displays, but as well as a service and how those two work together. So this is just another showing of how the stock could look like. And you can really see with these images, the initial mood boards we created with having an organic feel, a little bit of color, but keeping it clean and simplistic, and just showcasing how our two sides of this project combine into one as Primavera.
So here's how we as a group solved the problem. We successfully chose sustainable materials for both the services, which was my side, offered, and the products, Anna's, designed for EK Bare Beauty as the brand Primavera. And we enabled the smaller company to expand in terms of their branding and their market while still maintaining its core values. We managed to elevate EK Bare Beauty to the standard of a very trustworthy and even luxury makeup brand by simply changing the packaging and where the products would be sold, hence showcasing the power of good design. Thank you so much for watching our presentation. We appreciate it very much. If you have any questions, please text them to the number 614-657-5576.
Great job. Thank you, ladies. First question, does the bamboo fiber packaging have any negative interaction with the product inside the bottle since it's biodegradable?
I do not believe so because, as I said before in one of the slides, it's stain resistant. So even though it is biodegradable, after it's sanded, after it's press molded and sanded, it has such a durability that it can go through several washes and it can have product on it that it won't easily stain.
I love the orange slice inspired palette design. Can the user buy individual color triangles or do they have to purchase entire sets every time?
Oh no, the purpose of it was to buy individual color triangles, and also this would be kind of 16 shades would be the beginning, but then the brand could expand more as they go on. And so you can just build your own palette however you want it, and then if you have extra singles, you just place them somewhere else and you just switch it out as you want.
Okay. I want to share that my wife, who is sitting next to me, who is very into cosmetics, and particularly cosmetics that have eco-friendly and sustainable roots to them, she was very interested the entire presentation and really loved a lot of the things that you two were doing. So great job.
Thank you.
see. Anna, could you again give us a rundown of the possible spaces that the furniture or the displays could be set up? It looked like there was a farmer's market option, and then there was a small retail space. What other kinds of spaces were you thinking of?
Yeah, so I was thinking these could be also used for like conventions and expos. They could also just be used in like larger stores, or like you'll sometimes see in department stores, there's like a beauty section set off to the side where it's like a miniature store inside of the store. It could be used for that as well. Basically any retail application for the brand itself, if they're doing any type of retail brick and mortar store, you could be using these because they all work together, and you can have a smaller amount or a larger amount. The kind of size of the space doesn't really matter. You can just add more or less if you have a larger space or a smaller space.
Now, on one of your tables, you mentioned that you wanted to have no metal fasteners. Can you explain again what your reasoning behind that was?
So the reasoning behind that is because if you want to the easiest way to recycle a display is to not have any metal in it, because you would have to unscrew everything and take the metal and separate it to recycle it. So if you wanted to recycle this, you could just recycle it as is. You wouldn't have to take it apart or anything.
Okay. And did you take that thinking, that concept of either no metal or an easily removable metal fastener into your other products as well?
Yeah, so most of the products I tried to keep as least like metal and fasteners as possible. So the table doesn't have one. The A-frame has one at the top, but that would be very easy to take apart. And then the wall display would have one at the hinge, but they're all like at easy access points. None of it's really like hidden anywhere. And then the cash wrap would have to have some screws to kind of place the pieces together. And for the small shelf display, wouldn't necessarily need any screws. I was imagining to have like small pegs to fasten the larger brace into the center of the bottom, and then having the shelves slide in so it doesn't have the fasteners in that.
Okay. I want to commend you on the amount of research that you did for this project. I know that the world of sustainable materials is ever growing, and we're learning more and more about how we can be smarter with the materials that we use and the ways that they're harvested and produced and disposed of, because that is as much a part of sustainability as the nature of the material itself. So the amount of research that you put into this to inform these decisions, not only from the product side, but also from the retail display side, I think was very good, very deep. I think you got a lot of great insights, and the bamboo fiber is so interesting. I had not heard of that before, but it does seem like it could be a real game changer. So good find on that.
Yeah, it was definitely kind of a weird material to find, because it required a lot of researching and not just Wikipedia, because I had to like really research how it was manufactured, because I think it's only maybe 5 years old. It really is still in its testing phases. And the first time I found it was at a world market. Is that what it's called? World market?
Yeah.
These plates, because right now it's being mostly used for dinnerware and for like forks and knives, etc. So when I touched the plates, it said it's made out of bamboo, but it didn't really explain what it was, because it wasn't just plain cut down. But it did kind of feel like a mixture of plastic and ceramic, and it was very light. So I was like, oh, okay, this is interesting. So that's also why I knew that this would work for the products, because it was pretty light and pretty durable, and I touched it and felt it myself.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where the technology of that continues to go in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So this project was a team project, and since part of it was more architectural, Carlos was the advisor for Anna's portion of the project. I've been able to chime in a little bit and ask some questions, but I wanted to open it up to Carlos, because he typically likes to comment and ask some questions as well. So Carlos, if you would like, the floor is open for you.
Thank you. Thank you, Gabe. Yes, one thing I'd like to commend you is because you did show a great amount of work for one presentation. You included different aspects of your work, not only regarding the cosmetics, but also the way how you did the research, how you got into the details of actually developing the products, and then even going further in studying the marketing and the way how the boutiques were gonna be built or shown. So there was a lot of work involved in just one subject matter. So congratulations on that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Gabe.
Thank you, Carlos.
Mhm.
So if you would join me in congratulating these ladies on a job well done. They've worked very hard, and especially working on a team over the internet these last few weeks has been a feat for them to overcome.
A lot of Zoom calls with that one.
Yeah.
A lot of Zoom calls. Well, ladies, good job. You did it. Well done.